Yo, 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 what is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NBA to the Galaxy Pod, presented to you by DSM Media as well as your host. Myself, you can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter at R21301111. And you can follow your other host here at Scotty Drown. What a guy, man. I mean, the things that I have to deal with this dude, it's very interesting, but I wouldn't trade him for nothing in the world. That's my guy over there. But yeah, man, it's kind of playoffs, man, the gift that just keeps on gifting, man. Like these playoff series have been nothing short of great, like, competitiveness, just the physicality, all man, it's just amazing to see as a fan. But before we dive into any topics, things of that nature, how you doing today, Mr. Scotty Drone?
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Appreciate you leading the way there, my man
Yes,
Slim.
sir.
Yeah, you can see my setup. It's a little different. Just like Slim mentioned, he's always dealing with some shit with me. I'm dealing with some shit at the crib. We're not gonna get into that, but
Yeah.
happy what do they call it? Fridays
Thursday.
Junior. Yeah,
Thursday. Yeah.
Thursday. You're right. You're right. Let me not be corny.
It's all
Yeah, but I'm
right.
good, bro. Aside from the alternate setup today, we good. You mentioned it, the level of tenacity that these all around for the most part, outside of like the Heat,
That's
outside of the
that's
Miami Heat, these teams are playing with some fire. They're trying to stay alive this postseason, and we've seen some great battles. Even in that Warriors game that was not the greatest to start right last night. That
Mhm.
Rockets Warriors game, the backups for Warriors came in, made it a game, made those Houston starters come back out. Things get chippy
Yeah,
again,
they
even with
did,
the
yeah.
backups. It was incredible. But to your point, just leading off the show, love the energy right now in this postseason, and no more energy out there than Tyrese Halliburton's father.
Yeah, yeah, man. He was feeling himself like, man. He ran on the court after they put the Bucks out the playoffs, man, and just taunting Giannis, bro. Like,
What'd you think of
but
that? What'd you think of that?
man, I feel like that just goes to show you that they never been here before, and it shows. Like you're letting your emotions kind of take over in that situation. Like understand, like it's like a respect thing for me. Like, bro, this team just got put out the playoffs, man. Like, no need to taunt them and just kind of belittle them in that sense. Like, especially a guy like Giannis, humble dude, not really just known for, being into things like that. So why do all people taunt him?
Yeah,
It just don't make any sense to me. And I think Stephen A. Smith made a great point about this yesterday. It was like, man, I look at it like from your son perspective, like how does that look, for
yeah,
him? It's just not a good look, man. So nonetheless, it sucks. But he did come out and apologize. So I commend him on that. It's a
nice.
class
Yeah,
act. He knew what he did was kind of wrong. But it happens, man. You get caught up in the emotional things, which I'd be kind of excited too. You advance to the second
yeah,
round, but it's not like the way you did it, just how you did it. Like, just understand like knowing personnel out of all people, not Giannis. He's a good dude. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's kind of how I approached it or thought about it as well, bro. I think you made a good point, and Giannis kind of hinted at that with his post game press conference
Hmm.
comments.
Yeah.
He talked about how he's won a championship. His mom has been at every game or whatever the last couple seasons through that championship. And his parents have never gone on the court and done things like that disrespectfully. I do think it is a level of disrespect to Giannis. Like I do,
Yeah,
and
for
I'm not
sure.
even a huge like Giannis fan,
Yeah, you
but
specified that numerous of times.
to your point, he is a good dude. Like he's a good dude. He's respectful to the game. He goes all out. Had an incredible performance, by the way. What 30 and 20 in this game, triple double, but a 30 and 20 triple double, along with like 11 or 13 assists. He
Yeah, you get it
balled out
done.
in this series. He has won a championship, so I think there is a level of respect to give to him. But on the other side, to your point, emotions get the best of you. If you're Tyrese Halliburton's father, I don't care if I've been here before or not. I'm gonna be pretty sice if I watch him go and hit a game winner against a player the caliber of Giannis. Not saying the shot was made over him or anything, but his team. You defeat his team, you knock his team out. It's in Indiana, the crowd's behind you. You can understand how you can get a little wound up. And me personally, brother, I can't imagine. I don't have kids yet. You're gonna get even more excited. Like you're a beyond a fan at that point. And
Yeah.
so I do give him a little bit of grace, but I
Yeah.
think Tyrese Halliburton addressed it in his post-game
Oh yeah.
presser appropriately. And he showed a ton of class, by the way, Tyrese Halliburton, between the Dame Lillard injury comments and obviously the little, tidbit they got into earlier in the season. He obviously sends prayers out for Dame. Then this one, he just blatantly says his father was in the wrong. Like, he thinks his father was in the wrong. He's going to have a conversation with him. And I feel like that's so mature, because it's like it's so easy to just take your parents' side and say, they're my parents, like they were just into the game. Like, you could easily say that. No, he pays the game respect and pays respect to Giannis and places the blame where it rightfully is. It's on his father. His father's got to be better than that. So I did think that was interesting. The other thing I wanted to ask you, brother, the way Giannis be manhandling him. Did you see the way he grabbed Benedict III's head?
I seen it.
It's so like respectful but disrespectful at the same time. Like, he like gently is grasping your head, but he's like so much like Paul is bigger than you. It's disrespectful.
Yeah, like he just palm in the back of your head. Like, Benedict Mather had to start smiling for a little bit, bro. Like, it was
I couldn't
crazy.
tell if they were beefing or if they were like having a joke or something.
To be honest,
it obviously got heated, but
it definitely got heated. I said KPJ, he was out there pushing people out the way. And it's so crazy, bro. I seen Bobby Portis being peacemaker and all of this. Like,
that surprised me.
Like Bobby Portis being the peacemaker out of everybody on the team, that was kind of funny to me. And then you got your boy Kyle Kuzma just walking all up, just,
he's off in Neverland somewhere.
Yeah, he
bro.
was.
Kyle Kuzma different.
Yeah,
I don't know what's up with him.
Nonetheless, bro, this series was pretty intense. Like you alluded to, it started with the Damian Lillard and Tyrese Halliburton thing, and Pascal Siakam even said it. They just don't like each other, and that's what you love to see in the playoffs. Just that drama. Guys just willing to fight each other and things like that. What you like to see. But nah, man, you made some great points about that situation with Halliburton. Dad, I felt like Halliburton definitely, handled this situation pretty good. It just speaks to the volume of his professionalism. Just for him to go out and said things that he said last night. So I commend him and congratulations to him moving on to the second round as they face the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. They got their work cut out for them. So yeah, man. While we speaking about the Bucks, man, I would consider this season disappointing for sure. This team hasn't been at the first round in 3 years. Hasn't been at the second round since they won a title in 2021. And when you look at a guy like Giannis, right, we all know that the expectation for him is to win, win, win. This guy is a league MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star, All-NBA, All-Defensive Team caliber player, NBA champion, Finals MVP. So when you put all that together, the goal is to continue every season. And as I just mentioned, the past 4 seasons just hasn't been good for the Milwaukee Bucks. So the point that I'm trying to lead to, or the question rather, I want to ask you is, what's next for the Bucks?
Man, it's a loaded question. It's a good question, and it's the question you have to ask right now. You mentioned it. You mentioned everything with Giannis. I don't have to get into that. Like, he just had a 30, 20, and 13 game in the closeouts of a series against the Pacers, where the Pacers proved they have a clearly better team than the Milwaukee Bucks, excluding Giannis, obviously, right? Giannis is the best player on the floor. He proved that even in this series, quite honestly, even getting gentlemen swept. So yeah, he's 30 years old. I just double checked that just to see where he was at age-wise. 30 years old, he's right at that point where you no longer have time to wait, right? And Dame hit this point a couple years ago. It's funny that that's his running mate now at this point. You sent a very interesting article to me, and I actually just took a look at it again just to correct the point. But the article you sent, who was that article by the way? I don't want to go without. Is it ESPN?
It was from The Athletic.
Athletic. Okay, gotcha. So article from The Athletic, it's regarding Giannis and this offseason and everything going forward for the Bucks. And I think something that they pointed out that was very interesting is how the Dame Lillard injury impacts all of this as well. Because they could have gone into the offseason with this question anyways, even with Dame healthy on the team. I think Dame having a potentially let's just call it career altering. Let's not call it career ending, career altering
Yeah.
injury.
Yeah.
That's going to push Giannis even further out the door. And nothing against Dame Lillard and Giannis's relationship. It's not that I think they were like beefing or anything like that. I just don't think they even had the time to mesh on the court together to build like this strong bond that would kind of hold Giannis in Milwaukee. You know what I mean? Like that's what it would take. It would take him being buddy with Doc Rivers, with Dame Lillard, and feeling like he owes something to them that would make him feel like he's got to stay in Milwaukee. I'm not so sure that that's the case. You have an aging Brooke Lopez. You pointed out Bobby Portis not getting in that scuffle, and that's very interesting to me. Is he on the way out the door? Is he going to be looking elsewhere this offseason? He's a valuable piece. He could be a great bench scoring piece for a championship contender. So you look around this team, Gary Trent Jr., he was probably their second best player in this series. He's on a 1-year contract, I believe.
He's a free agent. Yeah,
he's a free agent. So he probably increased his value to an extent.
Sure. For
sure. He had 2 amazing games. He had some lackluster games, but when you have 2 amazing games, it kind of shows what you can do to an extent. So, yeah, I just went through a couple of them. There's so many questions with this team. And I think the biggest thing is like trade chips. Who do you have that is like gonna be able to garner something to go alongside Giannis and maybe Dame down the line, right, when he returns or potentially returns? There's just no certainty in the future for Milwaukee. And I think to that point, it leads to Giannis asking out, man. I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Man, you hit it on the head. A lot of great points there, and I tend to agree, my brother. Like, I think that the Milwaukee Bucks are officially cooked. I mean, you had a lot of good points, and here's the way I look at it. Like, I think that they should think long and hard about trading Giannis before he even asks for a trade. Like, the reason I say that is because when you look at the way this team is currently constructed, right? If I'm a GM and I'm looking at those pieces on that team, outside of Giannis and Dame Dollar, I don't see nobody over there that I really just want for real. Kyle Kuzma, that is out the window. Like that's not even
Nah, yeah.
an answer.
His
Bobby
value went
Portis,
down. Yeah.
yeah, I say Bobby Portis has value for sure. But when I look at guys like Brook Lopez, he's a free agent. I think he's pretty much on the way out the league. Like you seen, he kind of got exposed in the Indiana series. Like he was just too slow.
Yeah.
He couldn't keep up with those guys.
Yeah.
And if he's not making shots, man, he's pretty much unplayable. Like he's still a good rim protector, but if he's not stretching that floor for you, then he does you no good. So Gary Trent Jr. free agent, like you just alluded to, KPJ, he was pretty good, pretty solid. I say he's a free agent. You know, they don't have a ton of just attractive assets over there outside of Giannis and Dame, man. That's why I say that I think that they're a cook, man. Like to me, they should just reset things, find some salary relief, stockpile draft picks, and just bring in some young players at this point, man. Like they don't own any of their future draft picks until 2031. Let that sink in, bro. That's 6 years from now. That is
Yeah.
a long time, dog. Like Giannis, like you said to your point, Giannis is 30 years old. He would be 36 around that time. So,
Yeah.
I think that it's time, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I
And to
don't
that
see how
point,
they get any better. Like I alluded to, how they hasn't been at the second round since they won the title. They've been put at the first round. I mean, it hasn't been at the first round in 3 years. Like it's just been a struggle for those guys, man. And if I'm Giannis, I wouldn't feel too bad of wanting to lead this organization. Like I brought a
yeah.
championship here. I'm pretty sure the fans wouldn't feel too bad as well. Like he's forever stumped in Milwaukee. He's done some legendary things in his jersey. No doubt his jersey would get hung in the rafters. He's done some amazing things there. So you just one of those situations, bro. Like I don't say how they get better. Then on top of that, I will say this: when I look at Damian Lillard, I don't think that them trading for him was a bad move. I feel like what they included in getting him was the bad thing. Like
Yeah.
you included Drew Holiday. Maybe swap him out for Middleton. I think that your team be way better for sure. But who's to say that Portland even wanted Chris? They probably wanted Drew.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Because Drew
that's
would be the more flippable piece.
right. Exactly. Yeah, everybody
That's
could use a Drew Holiday for sure. But
yeah.
that's kind
See
of
that
what
on the
made with the
Celtics.
Milwaukee Bucks, man. I just think that they're officially cooked.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think the way they went out in this last game was kind of telling to that as well. It was kind of like, yeah, this needs to end because they were up what? They were up a couple possessions. Let's just say
Yeah,
that.
yeah, they
Indiana
was.
goes on an 8-0 run to end the game. The Bucks turn the ball over twice in the
Mhm.
last 29 seconds to blow this game. Um, the
You
writing's on the
know,
wall, bro. Like at the end
okay.
of the day.
You know what, bro? I'm glad you brought that up because this is we didn't even talk about this, but I'm going to ask it anyway
Yeah.
because I feel like it ties in. Where do Doc Rivers go from here? Like, is
Yo,
this
I was actually, it's a great question. I was just going to ask you the same thing. Like, do they fire Doc
like
Rivers
is this it for Doc Rivers as a head coach in the NBA? Is this it?
as a head coach at all? Mm.
Yeah, like in general, like this is his last time being a head coach in the NBA. Is this it?
I won't go that far. I won't go that far if he wants to coach. I could see him being done with it. Like, damn, I had to deal with Embiid in Philly and like them
Yeah.
playing in the postseason that James Harden wants to leave, whatever. And then I get to Milwaukee and I have Dame Lillard and he's always injured. It's like, damn. And then I get criticized heavily for everything that happens with my squad. So
Yeah.
could I see him wanting to retire? Yeah, I could see that. But I do think with his experience in the league, let me put it this way. If the Hornets fired their head coach, right, or
Mm.
one of these young teams fired their head coach, and they want to bring in Doc Rivers, a guy with a ton of experience, ton of development experience, maybe they bring a Doc Rivers in. The thing there, I don't think he's accepting a job like that. He wants to have a Giannis on his team or
Yeah,
a
that's
Embiid.
yeah.
So I
I
don't
agree
see
with
him.
that.
So to your point, maybe he is done because the opportunities may just not match what he wants ultimately.
Yeah, I agree, man. That's kind of where I'm at. I was finna say, like, but why would you want to go? It's kind of like going backwards in a sense. Like, you
Yeah,
go from having a somewhat of a contending team to a rebuilding team. That
yeah.
is just going to bring more stress on your brain, doc. So, maybe you should
Do you think the
consider
Bucks are
that.
going to let him go? Do you think they're going
Uh,
to fire him?
I doubt it because the way I look at it, man, that's really not a good look. I mean, if you think about it,
Yeah,
what year is this? 25. Doc Rivers the third head coach for them in like 2 years. They fired Mike Budenholzer and they hired Adrian Griffin. They fired him,
okay,
then they
yeah.
brought in Doc. So I don't think that that's just a good look. So I think that they keep him, man, for sure.
And I believe Doc and Giannis have a decent relationship. Am I mistaken there?
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
I believe I might be getting Doc. I might be getting Giannis confused with Embiid. I know Doc and Embiid had a great relationship. Usually, the star of the team has a great relationship with Doc. It's the rest of the guys that kind of don't like him because he's not a guy that's going to give young guys opportunity. That's something that he's shown throughout his career. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the Bucks go as a whole, man. This feels like the end of the Giannis era is the way I
yeah,
would put it.
yeah. I agree.
But yeah, um,
Yeah, I agree, man.
Boston and Orlando. Boston and Orlando also ended on what? That was Tuesday. Did that finish out?
Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah. Mhm.
How did we feel about the end of that series? How do we feel about Orlando moving forward?
So the Boston Celtics finished that series what 4-1. They got
Yeah,
it done in 5 games. I mean, the way I feel like it, way I feel about the situation, man, it was expected. Like there was no doubt that the Boston Celtics was going to win this series. But what I will say is this, man. I feel like from the Orlando Magic perspective, like it's just good for them to just keep getting that playoff experience and just building on it.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
playing against the league's great and Tatum and Brown and those veterans over there just to help those guys get better. So also like they definitely have some things they need to address like desperately, bro. Like there were
yeah,
times on the offensive end, man, where it was just looking not so good. Like they couldn't get, good quality shots off or any shots at all. Like defensively, they're there. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
Defensively, this team is elite, beyond elite, I say. But offensively, bro, it's just moments where it just looks so clunky. Like it's just
yeah.
yeah, it just doesn't look good. So they can try to work on that this offseason, man. I think that this team can, somewhat make some noise. Just be competitive for sure though. But yeah.
Yeah. I do agree with everything you said. Ultimately, you need to restructure or reformat
Mhm.
that team, right? Like, because the way
Yeah.
they're built, you need to trade some of the defense for a little bit of offense and a little bit of flow, like you
Yeah.
said,
In
fluidity of their
between.
offense as
Mhm.
well, connector pieces. And I think around Paolo and Franz, you need spacers. You need guys
Yeah,
that
yeah,
can create space for
for
those guys.
sure.
They like to get in the mid range. They like to get in the paint, finish at the rim. They'll shoot the ball from the three. They obviously shown they can do that at an
Hmm.
efficient rate. But you need guys around them that are going to give them some spacing. Wendell Carter Jr. He looks solid. Like he can floor space. He's a rim protector. I think they should get another option at
Hmm.
the center position just to give them a little bit of versatility. If they have a different matchup, maybe you can start somebody instead of Wendell Carter. But I do think, well, one, you'll get Jalen Suggs back. That's one connector piece to the offense and
Yeah.
does a little bit of everything, can offensive rebound as a guard.
Hmm.
But you do need to get a real point guard in there. You need a guy that's going to be able to get guys set up, can also space the floor. It's so funny, man. You remember last offseason, Trey Jones, or not Trey Jones, Tyus Jones was one of the bigger free agents that went into the market. He ends up going to Phoenix, I believe,
On a minimum. On a
on a
minimum.
minimum, bro. And I just look at Orlando, and I get it. He's not great defensively. He's not gonna lock down the other point guard, right? But he's solid. He can play team defense,
Hmm.
and he's an organizer that
Yes.
can also space the floor. And it
He
just
does
looks
play ball.
exactly like what Orlando needs. Maybe it's not Tyus, maybe it's some other version. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think looking at that from Orlando's perspective, that's the next step for them. They got their 2 stars. They don't need
Hmm.
another star really. You can
Hmm.
go 3 stars, but you don't need it. You can get role players around those guys.
Yeah.
Jason Tatum, bro. I had said this to you and D-Rab, and this is on me. That was my bad for even putting it in the air. I was like, is Paulo better than Jason Tatum? I said this in the chat.
Yeah,
Y'all
you
clown
said
me
that.
for it, rightfully so. And looking back on it now, it's like Jason Tatum heard me talk, like saw my text or something to y'all. And this man goes for 35. Excuse me, 35 last game, 37 the game before that, and
Mhm.
36 the game before that, right after coming back from the wrist injury, right, where he
Yeah.
missed game 2, I think it was. Um, is he on a mission, man? Is he trying to prove something this postseason?
Yeah, for sure. I think he's definitely trying to prove something, man. I mean, if you go back to last year, bro, like it was a lot of narratives being pushed out there when Jalen Brown won not only the Eastern Conference Finals MVP as well as the NBA Finals MVP. There was a lot of narratives being pushed out there
Yeah,
in terms of like the 1A and the 1B. Like, is Jalen Brown the true number one on that team and Tatum is the the two on the team? But
yeah,
I think so, man. Because I'll be honest with you, bro. Like Tatum to be labeled as a superstar in this league, he is for sure one of the most disrespected superstars in this league. Like
yeah,
you look at it from the Team USA thing that happened last year with him not, getting it playing time to, him being on the cover of 2K and being in these commercials and things like that. It's like he just don't get the respect from his peers that, he gracefully wants. And,
yeah,
I can kind of see him just trying to go out there and prove to these suckers like, hey man, I'm him. You know,
yeah,
Jalen Brown may have won the finals MVP and the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, but I'm on a mission as well. So yeah, man, I think he's definitely out there trying to prove something for sure.
yeah. I think the numbers don't lie. I think you're going up against a fellow Duke Blue Devil, and I'm not joking about this. I know I troll a lot about Duke, but you have to imagine that creates some sort of rivalry between Paulo and Jason Tatum, like just being from the same school, repping the same school, and both of these guys can be touted as the best player in the NBA from that said school, depending on who wins that matchup. So I do feel like he was kind of giving it to Paulo a little bit
Yeah,
in this series,
yeah.
just kind of like showing who's the elder statesman here, but. Boston, they look like they're once again rolling. They had a little bit of a shaky, game 3, I think it was, that Orlando stole from them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but nonetheless, they look ready to go. They're ready for the next round, and now they
Mhm.
are waiting they're waiting for their opponent out
Yeah,
of the
the Knicks and
New
the
York
Pistons.
Knicks and the Pistons.
Yeah,
Man,
like
that's going to be interesting.
I'll say one more thing about the Atlanta Magic. You were right about
Yeah,
that Tyus Jones. I feel like a guy like him would have been a great fit. And then, like you said, like defensively, but the way I look at it, like you got guys that can kind of cover up for that. You got
yeah,
Franz and Paulo, who's 6'10". You know, you got guys like Jonathan Isaac, Kentavious Caldwell Pope. You got all those guys that can defend. So I feel
yeah,
like a guy like Tyus Jones, he doesn't turn the ball over a ton, really at all. If I'm being honest, he's a high IQ player, and
yeah,
he's a pretty good 3-point shooter. So, a guy like that would be a good fit for them, as well as I mentioned last pod, man. Trey Young, bro, like you talk about a
yeah.
guy that can create not only for himself but others. Like you just gotta kind of cover up him defensively, but they got the pieces to do that. So, yeah.
That's a high level option, and this is what I'll ask you. Maybe this can close out this the Orlando Magic or something
Mhm.
here. But what would you be willing to give up for Trey Young? And I'm going to throw a name out there, Jalen Suggs. Would you be willing? And I think it's going to be Jalen Suggs plus other things,
Mm.
right? Maybe a draft
Um,
pick or two.
I think so, man, because even without Suggs, they still showing that they're a good defensive team.
Yeah,
With him though, they are a great defensive team. Better yet, elite defensive team when he's in the lineup.
yeah.
But I feel like without him, they're still a pretty good defensive team. So to your point, like at some point you gotta like figure it out, like get rid of some of that defense for
Got to
some
get better.
offense.
Yeah.
And I think a guy like Trae Young be a perfect fit. Initially, my mind shifted to a guy like Kentavious Caldwell Pope, and include
The
him
money.
as well as the young players and some draft capital to go out there and get somebody like a
Yeah.
Trae Young. So you can keep a guy like Suggs on your team, a backcourt of Trae Young and Jalen Suggs, that'd be pretty nice. So
That's a
yeah.
good point. That's a good point because you're going to have to make the salaries work. That's a big part there. So including KCP could make the salaries work, and then you add in maybe an Anthony Black, a young player,
Yeah,
right, who showed
draft
a little bit of
draft
promise,
capital, you
draft
know.
capital.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just salary fillers at
Jalen
that point.
Suggs just got a new contract from
Yeah, he
Orlando,
got
right?
paid. He got paid. Yeah, he got
Yeah,
paid.
I thought so. So
You can make the trade work with him, but
make
I
it
just
work.
was
I would try to keep him. He would
yeah,
be the
just try to keep
perfect
him. Yeah.
counterpart to Trey Young in that
Hmm.
backcourt, man. He would be perfect. So
Hmm.
we'll see where it goes for Orlando, man. Boston on to the next round.
Yeah. All right, man. So now that we're done with that, let's talk about LeBron and the Los Angeles Lakers. Man,
D-Rad,
what?
look away.
Yeah, D-Rad, when you see this, my brother. Hey, I ain't say much in the group chat last night. I gave you
Not
your
the
space.
Gobert. Not the
You know,
Gobert game.
man, it's so funny, bro. Rudy Gobert had a playoff career high last night in points and rebounds. The first center, I think, since 2004 to drop a 2020 game in the playoffs since Shaquille O'Neal on 75% shooting, to be more exact. Yeah, man, the Rudy Gobert game. I mean, the Lakers got exposed last night. They were pretty small. They whipped out the starting lineup of LeBron, Luca, AR, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Rui. And yeah, man, even on a night like Anthony Edwards struggled, he went 0 of 11 from 3-point range, overall 5 of 19 from the field. They still got the job done. So it just commend a guy like Rudy Gobert for stepping it up as much as we kind of talk about him or whatever. He was big time last night. But what are your thoughts on that game, man?
I can't get over Rudy Gobert, bro. Like 27 points, 24 rebounds, 12 for 15 shooting, killed them on the glass, obviously, the offensive boards. The Lakers go small ball in this. I just can't imagine a worse way to go out of the playoffs. Like with LeBron and Luca on my team, and then we get Rudy Gobert out the playoffs, man. There was times in this series where Rudy Gobert got
Was
played off the
unplayable.
court.
Yeah, he was
But
unplayable.
he ultimately wins the T Wolves this series. I think it's a great notion for the T Wolves moving forward, just giving them confidence to have Rudy out there for certain matchups. You're not going to be able to play small ball against the T Wolves to an extent, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's an interesting part of it. To your point, Anthony Edwards, he doesn't necessarily fill the stat sheet from the scoring column, but what he finishes with borderline a triple double, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. So he's filling the other parts of the
Mhm.
score sheet up. You get contributions from Nas Reed, you get contributions from the other guys, Dante. And they ultimately close this team out. I think it's a huge win when you talk about just look at the game before it, right? The Rockets and the Warriors, and this is no diss to the Warriors. It's just really hard to close a team out in a 3-1 setting. Like it's hard because you don't have to win that game. You're going to get 1 out of 3 tries to knock this team out of the postseason.
Right.
So the team could have came out, not played that hard. They could have just said, maybe we don't get this one. They come out, get off to a great start, and they don't look back in this one. I think it's a huge, huge W for the T-Wolves, but ultimately leaves the Lakers with a ton of questions.
A ton of questions. And like, to your point, man, I've alluded to this numerous of times. Closeout games are just, some of the hardest games to ever be a part of, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you play organized basketball. I'm sure you know what that be like. So,
yeah,
it's hard, bro. Like, just trying to get to the end, man. And teams they got pride, and they're not trying to go out, like that. So it's really rough. But to your point, man, with the Lakers, a lot of questions, which lead me to when you talk about this type of season the Los Angeles Lakers has had, right? Man, they made a major move to acquire a superstar in Luka Doncic, right? JJ Redick, first year as a head coach. Austin Reeves had one hell of a season, career highs all across the charts. Bronny James added in. A lot of things transpired for this team this past season.
Yeah.
So when you look at it from all of that, when you put it all together, what's next for LeBron and the Lakers, man?
It's such a loaded question. I think for the Lakers, right? They had made that trade, right? And it's funny because Mark Williams was trolling them after this loss last night, brother.
I see that, bro.
Another one of my Duke boys, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. Mark Williams, another Duke product. They had traded for him, and the trade got rescinded. Something was on. I think he failed. Failed a physical, something like that. And the Lakers rescinded the trade. He's exactly what they were missing in this series when you talk about a paint presence. And the comments from LeBron after the game, man.
That's what I want to talk about.
Very telling about maybe not about how he feels about the trade per se. Right? AD was his brother. He won a championship with AD. He obviously loved AD, loved playing with him, didn't want him to leave. But for Luka, maybe he would have been okay with that. Maybe he is okay with that trade. I think it's the way it went down. I think it's the discreetness of how the trade went down. LeBron says he did not know that trade was going to happen before it happens. AD says he was blindsided by the trade. You sent this to me right before the show as well. A week after AD says the Lakers need a center, he's gone.
Right. Yeah.
What did LeBron say last night?
My man LeBron was asked if the last 3 months of playing centerless basketball were taxing, and if it caught up to them in this series. He jokingly said the money quote of the night. No comment. I'll never say that because my guy AD said what he needed, and then he was gone the following week. So I got no comment. He's absolutely right.
So he's looking at that front office. And that's what would concern me. I don't think LeBron's at this point in his career where he's going to demand a trade. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe the Lakers have enough respect for him if he wanted to that they would just do it discreet. I don't know. I don't know how it would work. I don't know what the plan really is for LeBron, but I think you could look at it in a sense of, man, do we have a chance at a championship next season?
Right.
They were the 3 seed, to be fair. They were the 3 seed. They had a very shitty series from Austin Reeves.
He has to be better.
You could add in role players to make this team better. You got to do something defensively behind Luka. Because we got to see what Nico Harrison was talking about live in action with Luka just getting blown by every single time on defense, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the Lakers ultimately tried to go like a little bit of small ball so they could have Luka on like a big man where
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about foot speed as much.
Yeah, like go bear some.
Didn't work. It did
Yeah,
not work.
they're right. No,
Um,
it didn't.
it does raise the question. It's going to be a question that lingers on in Luka's career until he does win. Can you win with Luka leading the way for you and him being the defensive liability that he is? It's a real question. Nico, Nico Harrison, I'm not gonna say that he looks like right or that. Once again, I'm not gonna go as far as to say that. Oh, the Mavs won this trade. I'm not gonna say that.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers didn't definitively win this trade yet.
Yeah.
So
Both teams still have to show for that though. Like
they do.
who wins the championship first? I think that's what it kind of comes down to. Because when you look
Yeah.
at it from a Dallas perspective, like that was their goal to, win a championship. So if they beat the
Who's
Lakers,
closer?
who's closer? Hmm.
Like, think
Oh,
about Dallas if Kyrie's healthy and AD, obviously, but he was healthy in the play-in.
that's honestly a toss up, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a toss up. You can
Yeah,
kind of lean. I think that Dallas has the better bench though.
better role players, but you
Yeah.
would give the two-man game to LeBron and Luca,
Yeah, I'd do that for sure, yeah.
and
Uh,
they have the best third player.
Austin Reeves compared to Clay. Yeah.
Ah, Clay experience. Yeah, like, do the Lakers wish they had Clay and Austin Reeves spot in this series?
I don't know, man.
I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to diss Austin Reeves too much for one bad
Mhm.
series in the postseason, but Clay can hit shots. That's something he
He
can do.
can.
He
He
doesn't
can
build
for
walls and
sure.
bricks. He has in the past. I shouldn't say that, but he's obviously more experienced than Austin Reeves.
Yeah, for sure, man. There's so many different thoughts going through my head right now with this situation with LeBron, man. He said a lot last night.
Yeah,
In so many words, like he don't really know what his future look like. Like he said, he has to like meet with his family and his team and see what's best for him. Like, do he come back and play another season or so, whatever the case may be. But I will say this, man. I gotta give a lot of love to Rui Hachimura. Like he played
yeah.
pretty good during this series, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. He pretty much shocked me.
He
When
went
he
out
had
strong. Yeah,
yeah, he had like two 20-point games in this series. But I will say this, man. Like the Lakers, they definitely have to address that team. Like you have defenders like Vanderbilt, who's just a liability offensively, bro. Like he
yeah,
can't shoot the ball. If he's not really dunking the ball, he's not doing much. So they're gonna have to address that bench, man. And it showed like when JJ Redick played those starters for the whole second half, it's just a testament to how trash
yes.
that bench is. Like, no disrespect to Jackson Hayes. I'm not trying to push this narrative that he should be at the league, but I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It may start to, look that way because
What
he
does
he
he
looked
do?
he looked unplayable in that series. Like to be
Yeah,
7 foot tall, you athletic, you're not having any type of impact, bro. Like you're not protecting the rim. You're not just being that force to be reckoned with down
yeah,
low, and it really showed, man. So I don't really know if teams are just interested in bringing a guy like that to that organization. So yeah, man, the Lakers they have a lot to address, man. Austin Reeves had a bad series, nonetheless. He just couldn't buy shots when it mattered the most.
yeah,
Maybe he shakes back, maybe he don't. But at this point, man, I'd say at best, LeBron probably got another good season left in him. Father
yeah,
time is undefeated, so in saying that, you just got to make it all count. So, the fact that a guy like Anthony Davis can address what this team needs, right? And you
yeah,
guys get in your feelings and trade the dude says a lot about you guys as well.
yeah,
It's no
yeah.
secret that you guys need a center. Come on now.
Yeah,
So,
and I think
yeah.
to your point, just looking at LeBron and like the trajectory of his career over the next year or so, there was a lot of talk this year, like LeBron being 40, and he will have these games where he still looks like old LeBron, but in the postseason, you started to see him getting tired, and can he be the second star on a championship team? Like I'm whispering it, like I'm not trying to disrespect LeBron, but he obviously got worn down the stretch of this post. He went 9 for 21 last night. Those aren't LeBron numbers, right?
Yeah.
Finishes with 22. You covered the stat sheet, but the shooting just went down and down. The energy levels went down. The defensive levels. He's out there playing. I'm not saying he's not giving effort. He's just old, man. Like, it happens,
Yeah,
to your
yeah, for
point.
sure. Just
And it's not like it's going to get
any better.
better with age, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I think, to your point, one more like good
Good
season,
season.
like
Almost good
being,
season.
a top 20 player, top 25 player.
Mhm.
He's what would you say LeBron this season? Top 10 player? I
I
mean,
say
he put up
top
good numbers.
top 15 for sure. I mean, you got what
Top
he's doing
15.
is impressive for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't want to I want to give him credit because he is 40 plus years old. Like,
yeah, that's what
yes,
I'm saying. Like it's
but
unheard of. So
it is
yeah,
unheard of. Yeah.
and then
So
he's doing it
we'll
on a
see
pretty
what
good
they go, man.
team. He's
What'd you
doing it
think
on a
about
pretty good team. So
what'd you think about JJ Redick this season? Success for
um,
him, you would say?
yeah, I say success, man. First year head coach, third seed in the lower Western Conference. That's
Yeah.
success in my book. So shout out to him. There was a lot of questions around him saying if he was a guy for the job, and he proved them that he is a guy for the job. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
And I would say JJ, like, just knowing it, like listening to his pod regularly when he was having his pod,
mhm.
um, he's so like good with, like, you know what I mean, like, just
Yeah,
basketball, like
yeah,
understanding the
he's a
game.
genius. He's a
He's
genius.
a basketball genius,
He's a
literally.
genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you look at Luka's situation, there might not be a better option out there. The Eric Spoelstras, these other coaches, obviously, that are going to be Hall of Famers. There might not be a better young head coaching option
Mhm.
to structure this team around Luka to hide him defensively. Like, there might not be a better option for a coach to do that. So we'll
Yeah,
see what happens with the with the Lakers going forward.
yeah, man.
Um, the T Wolves, yeah, the West don't have any set series just yet. T Wolves and OKC are waiting for their
Yeah,
opponents.
yeah, they waiting. So one last thing about this Lakers situation, man, before we move on.
Yeah,
With LeBron, bro, like I feel like he don't have anything to prove. So, you
yeah,
know, if he end this season out with a bang, that's good. But bro, you ain't got nothing to prove to us. You one of the all time greats. We all know what you brought to this game. To my point, Father Time is undefeated. So, just take your time and just think this through, man, and we'll see where the Lakers go from here.
yeah.
But
Facts.
yeah, man. Moving on to we kind of go through this pretty quickly. We don't have to spend a ton of time on it.
Yeah,
Predictions for the Knicks and the Pistons, man. Like that last game, wow, what a game that was. I mean, Detroit forces a game 6. They go back home and they play the New York Knicks tonight. What are your thoughts about that last game, man? Anything that stood out?
yeah, yeah. Obviously, the Pistons were in win or go home fashion. They're at the Garden and they come away with the dub. I think that's a big, big feat.
Hmm.
They actually defended Jalen Brunson very well, held him to a very poor performance for his standard.
Hmm.
And so when I look at the Pistons coming out of this one, you get a great performance from the Thompson twin, Asar, right?
Yeah, he was
Um,
huge. He was
he
huge.
balls out in this one, 22, 7, 8 for 10 from the field, 7 rebounds, that is, by the way.
Mhm.
Um, Pistons, they stay alive, and I think you get it back to Detroit now.
That's
Anything
huge.
can happen in Detroit,
Yeah.
right? It's game 6.
Yeah.
They're trying to get it to go back to the Garden for a game 7. Detroit is going to be lit tonight,
Oh yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
I'm very, very
For
excited for
sure.
this game. Um, I'd be lying if I said I feel confident in picking like a winner for this. I'm gonna pick the Knicks. I just have a weird feeling. There's something inside of me that says the Knicks need to close this out tonight.
Oh, they need to.
You know what I mean? And
They
so,
need
like,
to.
I'm gonna go with the Knicks, but Detroit, they're young. They're like, they can surprise us. And surprising us would be winning this game tonight, going back to New York in game 7, and taking them to the wire in the Garden to go to the second round. Um, it's possible at this point. They played the Knicks really close this series. They
Oh
played them
yeah.
really close in just
Oh
about
yeah.
every game. They had the lead in game 1, and they blew it, right?
Hmm.
Knicks come back. They end up winning by double digits, but Detroit led a lot of that game 1. that was the only game that I believe was separated by double digits in this series. So these teams are tightly matched. They're tightly, as far as talent, and that's crazy to say when you look at what the Knicks did over the offseason. But Detroit, they are in a great spot. And the thing with Detroit, there's no pressure. You don't have to beat the
No,
Knicks.
for
You
sure.
don't have
No,
to.
yeah.
It's just a plus at this point if you beat the Knicks. If you take them to 7, that's success.
That's a win.
Success is what
That's a
they've already
win.
done. They've
Yeah,
already
for sure.
mastered success this season.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for
Detroit's
sure.
playing with no
Easily.
pressure, man.
Yeah, they easily did that. I mean, this team had the worst record in the NBA last year. So let
Yeah,
that sink in to go from that
that's
to
crazy.
being a playoff team. That just speaks volumes of the job JB Bickerstaff has done with this team. So yeah, man, you pretty much hit on the head. All great points. Like Jalen Brunson really struggled in this matchup as well as Carden Towns. Man, he
Yeah,
just couldn't get a rhythm, man. And I got to get Tobias Harris a lot of love. He did a damn good job in defending him. So yeah, man, I
I
will
saw
say
that
this.
getting chippy as well in the game. I saw him getting a little
Mhm.
chippy in that game as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. You
It's
see
good.
what I texted the group chat. I said TB12. I was talking to Tobias Harris. He
Yo,
had one of big.
I didn't even catch that. I didn't know that's what you meant, bro. I
Yeah,
swear. Now that you say that, that's even funnier. Because I
yeah.
remember seeing the text.
Yeah, TB12. But nah, man, nonetheless, bro, like I had New York closing this series out, bro, because they got their work cut out for them if they beat the Pistons tonight. You got to play the defending reigning champs in the Boston
Yeah,
Celtics. So, you might want to go ahead and take care of business, man, because it ain't going to be easy. But I had them win the last game. They didn't win. A lot of things went wrong for them. Like you said, Brunson really struggled and Carden Towns didn't play well. So we'll see how they respond tonight, man. It's gonna be a good game for sure. I
yeah.
picked Detroit to win this series. I'm still rolling with those guys. So yeah,
I
man, it's
feel
gonna
it.
be a fun matchup for sure. So we'll see how it goes.
I feel it. I feel it.
So moving over to the Western Conference, my brother. Man, what a performance from Jamal Murray in that matchup
Yeah,
against LA, man. It was
yeah,
that brother was cooking, man. Finger licking good. Have it your way. He was serving, bro. Like the man finished with 43 points, dog. Like he was just on fire. Got to give a lot of love to Aaron Gordon as well, man. He was huge, man. He was hitting
yeah,
those timely jump shots. Shout out to Russell Westbrook, man. Like he set the tone in the first half, bro. I think he had like 16 first half points or something like that. But he was balling for
yeah.
sure, bro. The point is, like you see, I named all the others on that team, right? I didn't even say Nikola Jokic's name.
You
So
didn't have to do much.
to for those guys to have that performance and Jokic didn't really have to do much, it just speaks volume to those guys' performances. And it was huge for them for sure. So when we, recap that matchup between Denver and the Clippers, like did anything in particular stand out from you from both sides or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's not that there were any indictments moving forward. It's just more things that I'm going to keep my eye on in this matchup.
Hmm.
Because this matchup was very interesting. It's kind of different from the other matchups. It really felt like the Nuggets controlled this one. And
Yeah, I agree. I
obviously,
agree.
Jamal Murray had a game. Jokic didn't have to do much. Aaron Gordon continued his great play from the matchup beforehand, where he had the game-winning dunk. And so it did bring me out of this game kind of wondering, did that Aaron Gordon tip dunk game winner destroy the Clippers? Like, did it in their season? Did their season end right there? And what
Hmm.
I mean is if Denver comes out tonight and controls this game again, gets the Clippers out of it, you
Yeah.
see a lackluster performance from James Harden, a guy that I was on the show Tuesday
Yeah.
hyping up, expecting a big game. He comes out and he only shoots 9 shots.
Yeah. It
That
was
like
bad.
not even being aggressive.
Yeah.
Come
It was
on,
bad.
you gotta be better than that. So those are things I'm keeping an eye on going into the next matchup. Obviously tonight everything's on the table. The Clippers got to win or they're going
Yeah.
home for the season. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do wonder if Aaron Gordon kind of took the life from the Clippers in that what was that game 4 matchup in LA where they kind of
Mhm.
stole that game.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm going with the Clippers tonight. I'm staying true, and I am gonna go. I'm just gonna predict it till it happens. Big Uno game tonight. James Harden. He's
Yeah.
gonna come out and give us something that he hasn't given us basically in the last two matchups, really, he hasn't played that well. So I'm expecting a big game from him tonight. But the main guy on the Clippers that it has to be Kawhi, right? Like he's the guy that got in their wins this series. He's been the best player on the
Mhm.
court. Him and Jokic going back and forth, but he was so efficient in their wins. And then, not that he had a bad game the night before last, just wasn't very Kawhi, MVP Kawhi or Finals MVP Kawhi like. So if they can get Kawhi back to that tonight, that's going to help a lot. But also the role players just being back at home, back in LA,
Mhm.
get their footing back. So I am going to go with the Clippers tonight, but I do wonder if the Nuggets killed them in Game 4, man.
Yeah, I think that scuffle they had in that game, man. Maybe it just pissed Aaron Gordon off, and he just
Good point.
turned that switch on. Like, hey, man, I'm about to show these dudes,
Yeah,
And to your point, he had the game winning dunk, and the other night, he balled out. So yeah, man, you brought up great points, man. I feel like a guy like Zubac too, man. Like if he, I know you brought up Harden having a bounce back game, but I think Zubac got a better chance of having a better game than Harden does, in my opinion. No shots thrown at him. I just feel like a guy like Zubac is the key to like constantly wearing a guy like Jokic down
yeah,
on the defensive end.
yeah.
Just tiring him out or whatever the case may be. But I will say this, man. Like backs against the wall, a lot of people picked the Clippers to win this series. Me and you talked about this last year. Are the Denver Nuggets like a one of the most disrespected championship teams in recent history, recent years to be exact? Although they did fire their head coach, no secret there. But are they just one of those teams that just constantly gets overlooked for some weird reason? Hmm. I would have to say yes if I had to answer that question.
It's tough, man, because I texted y'all this and I was trolling a little bit about Jamal Murray, but don't get me wrong, his playoff record, like his numbers in the postseason, they're good. They're great.
He elevates his game in the
He
postseason.
has moments, but is he like 43 points in this game, right? And I'm just like, is he gonna do that again? Do they need it? Is Jokic going to have that poor? I don't mean to call his game poor. The night before last, he just didn't have to do much. They're a perplexing team. You can see I'm stumbling to like come to a
Yeah.
conclusion with the Denver Nuggets. Like they're kind of a confusing team because Jamal Murray simply does not play like that all the time, especially in the regular season.
Yeah,
So
for
when
sure.
you go into the postseason and they're kind of struggling down the stretch, and Jamal Murray doesn't look like that guy from the finals run, right? The championship run a couple years ago, all of a sudden he's scoring 43 in game 5 back in Denver of the first round. And yeah, maybe they are being disrespected, but the way their season played out, Michael Porter Jr. not having a great season, right? Beat up. Christian Brown having to step into the starting lineup and maybe not fulfilling it consistently there, relying on young guys. I don't think it was unfair, though,
Mhm.
in a tough Western Conference. If they were in the East, then yeah, they're disrespected as hell. But in the Western Conference, where things change every year, guys are healthy, guys aren't healthy, teams fluctuate. I think it's tough to not question. And to that point, every team in the West outside of OKC was kind of questioned this year. And in reality, the
That's
Lakers
that's
are the
that's
three
fair.
seed.
That's fair.
They're questioned. Houston too young.
Mhm.
Memphis fired their head coach. Right.
Yeah, that's
There's
fair.
questions all over the board, man.
Yeah, that's fair, man. I will say that. But when I look at a guy like Murray, though, he's just one of those dudes that just elevates his level of play in the
He does.
postseason.
Yeah.
Him, Donovan Mitchell, Jimmy Butler, those are just names that comes to my mind. So, now I definitely see what you're saying, man, for sure. When you put it that, when you look at it from that perspective, I agree. So, yeah, man. Moving on, man, because I know you got to get out of here. Golden State and Houston, man. Last night, unfortunately, my Warriors, we couldn't close this series out like I kind of thought we would.
Yeah.
Originally, though, I did have us closing this thing out in six. I will say that. But anything that you noticed from that matchup, that just stood out?
In the moment, I had thought that like it felt like the Warriors came out and just kind of threw this game away. Like, just were like,
Mm.
we got three more chances. It's kind of what I was talking about earlier with Minnesota. It's what they could have done. And it's not to say that Minnesota is like better than the Warriors for winning their game, game five or game
Mhm.
five, right? It's not to say that T Wolves are better for that. I just in the moment, I don't want to see the lackadaisical Warriors come out. Steph getting stripped in the open court like five times in
Mhm.
the first half. Like he obviously didn't look to have the energy last night, and so like from that standpoint, I didn't love the way they came out. But in hindsight, after the game ends, you see the way it ends, the way it goes. You see the Rockets starters have to come back out
That
against the
lets
Warriors bench players, and I
that
think
lets me know something.
that's very telling. It's very
That
telling.
lets me
Now
know something.
their backs were on the wall. The Rockets' backs were on the wall. It's win or go home. They can't afford any risk in that situation.
Hmm.
But they're out there playing their hardest against the backups for the Warriors. They're out there getting into scuffles with is it Trace Jackson
Trace
Davis
Jackson Davis and Pat Spencer.
and Pat Spencer. Yeah, not even Cam Spencer, his brother.
Yeah,
Pat
Pat Spencer.
Spencer. He gets ejected from the game for like a headbutt. That was bullshit. Whatever.
Come on,
Um,
man.
it was telling from that standpoint, bro, to the point where one, I'm so ready for the Rockets to be gone. I'm not even a Warriors fan. I'm not even in the Western Conference, and I don't like these guys. Like I thought that Dylan Brooks he's so fucking corny, dog. Like so corny. Just talking about Steph's thumb last night, and like if
Ridiculous,
you're
bro.
doing that, dude, it's just corny to me. I don't know. To each their own. Competition, right? You
Yeah.
know that it's not a rule that you can't attack somebody's like injured or hampered body part, but it's just weird to even talk about it. I think the question going to Dylan Brooks kind of speaks to how he's perceived in his character. He's perceived as a player that would do that, and he doesn't back down from that either. I'm tired of him. Just seeing him hit these fluke ass shots off the backboard, like, come get
There's
the hell out of here. And then you throw in Fred Van Vliet, bro.
damn
I'll
it.
throw it to you, man, but I got the Warriors getting these guys out of here next game. It's not going 7 games. They're going
Yeah,
back to San
sure.
Francisco and they're getting them out of there. But I'm so ready for
Yeah.
Houston to be done, bro.
Me too, man. Like you hit it on the head with those fluke shots. Like this dude is hitting like turn around mid range post phase, just stuff like that. Like it's just crazy.
Off the backboard from the 3 point line, like bank shots at the 3 point
Just
line. Like, get out of here. You're not a
crazy, man.
shooter.
Like, and to your point, like those guys, they had the Houston Rockets starters had to get brought in against our backups, not our backups, our
Backups,
third
backups.
string, our third string players was in that game, and
Pat Spencer.
yeah, and they brought the lead. They cut the lead down to like 15 points at one point. It was like
Yeah,
4 minutes left to go,
got tight.
but. But no, man, I knew, like, bro, I knew the route this game would go towards. Like, 13 first quarter free throws for the Houston Rockets. I
Mm-hmm.
knew then. I said, yeah, they're trying to. D-Rap said it best at Vegas, bro. Like, I'm not no fool to this. I know what's really going on
Yeah,
because,
yeah,
like, you can kind of tell that the refs was showing too much love to this team, bro. Like,
yeah. That's a good.
13
Yeah,
first quarter free throws,
it's a
dude. Like,
great
what are
call
we
too.
talking about here? Like, be serious with yourself, like. But nonetheless, man, we just got to shake back. Like, I think that we kind of Steve Kerr, I got to give him a lot of credit. He held himself accountable that he didn't have the guys ready to play. So in saying that, man, like we have to win the next game, bro. Like there is no other option. Like, bro, we gotta get ready for Minnesota. This we got our
Yeah,
work cut out
yeah.
for us. So we gotta go and get rid of these dudes. You know what I'm saying? Just go and send Dylan Brooks to Cancun because I'm tired of this dude. He really irks my nerve. I'm not gonna lie
That
to you.
dude out my
He just
face,
tries
dog.
so hard to be this villain of the league, like whatever, dude. But my prediction is that we do get this thing done in six, man. So can't
Yeah,
wait to tune into that matchup tomorrow. So
I do.
um,
I have one more question before we get out of
okay,
here,
okay,
brother,
okay.
because I know we agree on the winner. The Thompson twins. They both had games, bro, in these closeout fashion, right? They both went hard. Which Thompson twin are you rolling with?
Uh, Clearly, I got to go with a sure. I ain't rocking with Amen right now. We in a
Yeah,
series against each other.
fair
I'll
enough.
be honest
Fair
with you,
enough.
bro. I've been seeing like a different side of Amen. I'm not saying he's dirty or
I
things
know
of
what
that
you mean,
nature,
though.
but
I
I've
know
been
what you
seeing a
mean.
different side of him, like talking shit to our
Yeah.
players over there, and just the way he go about things. I've just been seeing a different side of
Hang
him.
around
So
Dylan Brooks, man. They're
yeah, that's
all doing it, honestly. They're all
yep,
doing it. They're all
yeah.
acting like
That's
Dylan Brooks.
but the
Because even
thing that
Sengun is getting on my nerves.
you
His
told me about that.
personality is getting on my nerves. Like,
The thing that gets me the most though, bro, is that y'all won the physical game. Like these are the words that came out of you guys' mouth.
yeah,
But when a guy like Draymond starts doing the things he does, now y'all want to cry about the shit.
y'all
Like it
start
just don't
crying
make
about
any
it.
sense to me, bro.
Yeah,
Like, keep that same energy. Like y'all not no saints, you know. So come on,
they can
just
dish it, but they can't take it.
yeah, that's
Pause.
what I'm saying. Like, but yeah, like before we get out of here, man. So before we exit this interview, this podcast, man, like Knicks, Pistons, Clippers in Denver, Warriors and Rockets. So
Yeah,
we both agreed on my Warriors winning. So and you got the Clippers winning that matchup today,
yeah.
right? Okay, and then
So
you have
game
the
7.
Knicks winning today.
Yeah, so I do have them beating
Okay,
the
so we only agree on
Pistons.
one because I got Pistons forcing the game 7, and I got Denver closing this thing out. So yeah.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Before we go, Cavs Pacers. We don't have to get super into it. We can obviously get
Mhm.
into that next Tuesday,
Oh,
but
okay, okay. Just
series
predictions.
prediction? Yeah, like what?
Mm,
How many games do you think this one goes?
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I'm glad you asked me that because I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I think this series can really go to 7 games. Like if
Yeah,
Pascal
I
Siakam
can see it.
can, you know, I don't know, just give you like 23 or more points against Evan Mobley, it's not going to be easy because he's the defense player of the year for a reason. But if
Yeah,
he can just constantly keep this thing going, then hey man, I can see this being a very competitive series as well as Halliburton, So, but I'm gonna say Cavs in 7, bro. That's what I'm gonna say. Cavs in 7.
I like it. I like it. I do get where your head's at. I think Indiana proved something in that first round series. I think they proved something last year in the postseason. Um, I'm gonna go with Cleveland in 6 because I also
Okay.
think Cleveland proved something first round, but
Hmm.
I'm not going to sit here and go against you too hard. Like it could easily go 7, obviously, if it can go
Yeah,
6.
I
But
wanted to go 7.
I feel you. The matchup is right. I do love the matchup. You got Siakam and Turner versus Mobley and Allen, and then
Uh-huh.
obviously you get into the guards and all of that. It's going to be a fun series. So we'll see how it goes. I think game 1's on Sunday, so we'll get to recap that next
Oh
week.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it, man. Do you have anything you want to say to the viewers out there before we get out of here?
Nah, man, just enjoy the hoops this weekend. We're closing out the first round, so
Yes,
we're not
sir.
going to be getting multiple games every night going forward. So
Yeah.
appreciate it over this weekend as it kind
Mhm.
of ends, because we're going to get into that like every other night there's a game, or
Mhm.
maybe every other night there's 2 games. So enjoy the every night of hoops over this weekend while it lasts, man. That's all I'll say. Enjoy your
Yeah,
weekend.
for sure, man. But make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel,
Yes,
to
sir.
the Galaxy Pod. Make sure you guys turn on notifications on so you won't miss any more of this great content moving forward, as well as interact with me and my guy Scotty, man. We always want to see what you
Yes,
guys,
sir.
think about certain situation that we be discussing up here. So that would be nice. And as well as go follow the TikTok page at NBA to the Galaxy Pod. We post a lot of clips on there just in case you guys miss it or whatnot. A lot of great content over there. And yeah, we appreciate all the support and love, man. We wouldn't be here without you guys. So yeah, man, with that being said, follow my guy Scotty at Scotty Drown on X as well as myself at R2R30111. And hey man, we'll be here again with this next week. And with that being said, we out. Peace.
Peace, everybody.